timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl! Brady has his fifth! 13! 13! Can you believe it?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Locker Room Podcast. I'm your host, Oliver, as always, joined by the mystery man, Sharpy.
Hello.
You always forget that I'm going to say it every time, don't you?
I just wait for it, sort of.
Soon we'll be joined by bloody Lockie or Sam again, hopefully. Maybe if we did it later on at night. But anyway, we'll get straight into it. One of the awards has actually been announced, surprisingly. I didn't think they would announce it this early. And that's Defensive Player of the Year. Marcus Smart won it, which he was favourite for the bookies, at least, going into it. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see a guard win it this time. It was a bit funny with the announcement of when Gary Payton was doing it. I don't know what he was saying, but it was pretty funny when how he announced it. So.
And Bridges was a close second as well. So, I mean, and there was people coming out saying Gobert was getting voter fatigue. And I'm like, I think that's pretty fair after he's won 3 of them. I think he's won 3 of them. He might have even won 4. But
yeah, he's won quite a few, yeah.
But my question is, what the fuck is with the trophy? Like, I remember I've seen the photo of Rudy Gobert stacking them up and they're like huge bronze things. And then this one's just like a glass ball.
I might have changed the design.
Yeah, well,
I thought they were going to do the NBA awards this year. Like
on that day.
No, like I thought, because I know last year and obviously the year before, because of COVID, they haven't had the ability to do it. But I thought because it's been easing off, that they would have done the NBA awards type thing.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it though. I think Bam keeps saying that he can guard 1 through 5, but I feel like people that get put on an island, like say Marcus Smart or another guard, deserve to actually be in the running for once. People are always going to argue whether he actually deserved it or not, but I think he did, especially looking at what that team's done defensively. Moving on anyway. Jalen Brunson, God, I couldn't say that for a second, dropped 41 points in a win. We're not going to touch on every game or anything, but he's obviously up for a new contract in the offseason. He's bound to get a lot of money. Do you see him getting that from the Mavs, or the Knicks were linked to him, I think, last year maybe?
Yeah, we've been in the running for him for a while. I think there was also a Knicks scout that was at the game between those two. So, it's pretty exciting on both ends for maybe Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brunson.
Who's that for?
But yeah, I he deserves to be paid. He's a good point guard. He's fits in the role properly whenever Luka isn't there, and obviously it's going to put less pressure on the Mavs to bring Luka back, knowing that they've got someone there that can fit his role. So yeah, I should be fine.
I don't know contracts that great, but what contract would you sort of float around with him? 4 years, 90 million, 4 years, 100 million.
He's probably a 20 million a year player. Yeah. I'd say.
And would you want him at the Knicks, and 2, do you think he'll stay at Mavs?
I like him at the Knicks, yeah. I reckon he could play a bigger role than what he is currently playing at the Mavs. Well, I think any team would be lucky to have a player like him.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In saying that, where do you think what will happen with him?
I don't know. Really, it's a tough decision. I feel like he'd probably leave. I feel like it depends on how aggressive the Knicks pursue him.
I think it's a bit down to how the Mavs go in this playoffs as well. Like obviously, if they keep clicking, and the Mavs are going to offer him more money because they don't have KP's contract anymore, but they might have to look out for like Dinwiddie and whether they want to keep one of them or not.
I think Dinwiddie's only got a year left or something. On his contract. but I don't think. But I don't think he's got. I think he's got I think he's got a team option in his contract. So
I think he's either at the Knicks or the Mavs next season. What about Donovan Mitchell on the other hand? Jesus, they obviously losing to the Mavs without Doncic. They are going to implode this offseason. You would think. I feel like Donovan Mitchell hasn't played great the first 2 games. Do you feel like they've just got bad chemistry coming into the playoffs, or they're just not built for winning in the playoffs?
Yeah, probably the second one. Yeah, I don't. They're even their role players. They're not that great. Like you look at
Royce
the
O'Neal's all
Nugget.
right. I like Royce.
Yeah,
O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal would be very good to have on your team, but I mean the rest of them aren't that spectacular. But I mean you got Jordan Clarkson coming off the bench.
Yeah.
But I mean he can only do so much when it's just him, and the others aren't really doing that much. I mean Eric Pascal hasn't really done much.
Yeah, he's done fuck all. And Whiteside, though, I haven't even heard from him anymore. I don't know if is he still even on the team. I mean, you got Gobert as your starting center, so you probably don't need him.
I think he would be. I think he's still there.
They just need Gobert to learn like how to shoot a mid range or something at least, just to.
I mean, he could even play the Steven Adams role. And just like screen around plays to get to where they want to be, where it's in the paint or the mid range or something. But
and I haven't checked today, but I'm a bit worried. I only saw Steven Adams played 2 minutes 50. I really hope he's not injured. I haven't seen anything about it yet, but
I didn't see any reports on Twitter or anything.
Yeah, neither did I. So hopefully it's just a coach's decision or something. But anyway, moving on. Ben Simmons, yes, he's back. Well, he's going to be back this week apparently. How much of an impact do you reckon he's going to have straight away? Because say he comes back game 4, they're down 2-1 in the series, hypothetically, or yeah, they're probably going to be down 2-1, I'd say. How do you think he's going to impact not only this series, but the playoffs for the Nets?
Well, he'll be able to match up against the taller players and pretty much anyone. Like on the guard position, obviously they haven't got Robert Williams in. Got Al Horford in still, who Bruce Brown made the mistake of chatting shit and saying that they haven't got Robert Williams.
Okay, see, legend, you don't do that.
But yeah, it'd be exciting to watch him and Tatum. It would just be exciting to watch Ben Simmons. Just be back in basketball, really.
He'll be I'd think you'd take Tatum because I'd feel like you'd put Bruce Brown or someone on Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
And then at least KD doesn't have to do as much on the defensive end trying to guard Tatum.
Yeah.
Well,
and also you can switch on to whoever, like, because they'll be switching on to Kyrie all the time.
Yeah.
And I know Kyrie isn't the worst defender in the world, but you'd rather have your best defender on the whoever's handling the ball on the Celtics. So.
Yeah, and when you think about it, the Nets could nearly have their death lineup of, say, Simmons at center or KD at center defending Horford. I know they're really skinny and stuff, but like if the Celtics are playing Horford at the 5, you can easily play KD and Simmons as your 2 bigs and get away with it, and then play Bruce Brown and stuff. But I reckon that's going to be probably the best series, at least for the opening round. Embiid versus Nurse. I'm sure you've seen some of this at least. Embiid chirping back at Nurse, saying, politely asking him to stop bitching about foul calls. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's the richest thing to ever come from a player like Embiid. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that whole situation? And obviously there's a meme trending where Harden and Embiid are both lying on the ground.
Yeah, when I watched that game and I saw them both, that was just disgusting. I mean, Nick Nurse is not wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, for some reason, Embiid's just doing the heaps now.
Yeah.
But look, before Harden got there, he was barely doing anything like that. Like, and now he's just bitching for foul calls all the time. Like, it's just disgusting to watch. He hasn't won MVP, and my multi's failed, so I can now criticize Embiid. But Like, it's just bullshit. Like,
Well, he
it's
still
so
might win
annoying to.
MVP.
Oh, he might. Yeah, he might. But like, my Maltese already failed
Yeah.
because Marcus Smart won Defensive
Yeah,
Player of the Year.
true.
So,
I,
yeah,
I found it interesting, and it's like there was a clip of Jokic backing down Draymond Green and Kevin Looney, and he was getting absolutely like just slapped up and everything and slapped across the arms. But because he wasn't flailing or anything, he wasn't
Yeah.
like throwing the arms away and yelling. He wasn't getting anything. And then there's Embiid, where there was one where I think Van Vliet or someone just swiped at the ball, all ball, and he just started yelling and somehow got the foul call.
Yeah, I don't get it how your hands are going down
Yeah.
with the ball, and then all of a sudden they try and touch it, and then all of a sudden your hands are up in the air, like you were moving your hands there anyway.
Yeah, it's beyond stupid. And like I saw Kendrick Perk. Did you see Perk's tweet?
What do you say?
He's like, "Is this really Yoel MVP getting torched by the Warriors?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking serious? Does he not remember when bloody Embiid played against the Celtics without Simmons, and they got swept, I think. And it's just like, I know that it's not his MVP year, but like it's just, I hated watching, like I only watched the highlights for the second Philly game, and it was just the foul calls were just so much bullshit. And I get that the Raptors don't have anyone to match up with Embiid, but still, they needed Aaron Baines to be back. They need him back. What about Scotty Barnes? Have you heard anything about his injury?
I saw that I didn't see the results from the MRI that he had. I saw that it was negative, so that's good at least.
Hopefully he's back for the series, but
yeah, hoping it will.
You don't want to push him back. Moving on, I'm only going to touch on this quickly. The Clippers lost 2 playing games in a row, which means OKC gets the 12th pick at least in the lottery. So we get 2 lottery picks and we get an extra 7% chance at going into the top 4. I'm getting a call. Just wanted to touch on that. So that means we're basically the new Warriors, except we don't have Steph and Clay.
I think also the Clippers. I think also the Pelicans losing.
Winning.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
The Knicks have to number 11.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and it absolutely messed up Portland's rebuild. So basically, out of that trade for CJ McCollum and that, Portland get a 2025 top 4 protected Milwaukee pick, I think it is.
Yeah,
and I heard people tweeting it. It's like, Charlotte got more draft capital for Devontae Graham or whatever than we did for CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, Rocco. The whole rebuild's just messed up.
We traded Kai Jones on draft day to Charlotte for their future first, and we traded that future first with Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish. So,
and hopefully you use him next season.
Yeah, well, he needs to fit into the rotation. Bobby Marks, I think, is it Bobby Marks?
Yeah, be Bobby.
He put out he's been putting out a lot of off-season guides for teams. Obviously, he put out the OKC and put out the Knicks one last night. Having a good read of that, and he was saying how Cam Reddish needs to find a way into the rotation, and I think that's just down to Tibbs, man. Like,
I was about to say, a new coach.
Every time Reddish was playing, he was playing unreal for us. So I think
I really hope we see just someone in the front office pushes Tibbs to play the young blokes instead of Taj 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, the front office and the coach are that out of line.
Yeah.
So,
what were you going to say prior to that? Did you have anything else to?
I just want to talk about, well, obviously with the betting and everything, how you bet Frizy $50 at the start of the year that Trae Young wouldn't average over 25 points a game, and he ended up doing it, and you lost $50 Surprising.
Yep. Should have photographed that ceremonial moment.
You haven't paid
really...
him.
Oh, yeah, nice. No, that really sucked. I was tempted to make another bet that Trae Young wouldn't finish in the top 5 of scoring next season. But with the way the Hawks are going, I don't know if I really want to make that deal.
I mean, it'd be a nightmare for. Did you see Trae Young's quote today or the other day? He was saying about how he's getting bullied and everything, and he's got to bully them back. I mean,
is
you're
that
getting
after he
locked
shot
up.
like 1 of 12?
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, and I saw a photo. It was like how Trae Young expects them to play defense, and it was just a stock photo of like a family playing basketball together.
It's like touch football.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Okay, excluding the Boston Nets series, what first round series do you reckon is most likely to go 6 or 7 games? Matt, we'll go with 7, but I'll jump in here.
I reckon Timberwolves and Grizzlies.
That is a good series. That because I don't know. I reckon that's an interesting matchup as well. And depending on what's wrong with Steven Adams, whether anything actually is wrong with him.
Well, how about the Pelicans beating the Suns today?
That's where I was going with this.
And Brandon Ingram nearly having a 30-point triple-double.
I said on Twitter as well, this might seem like a huge overreaction, but if Booker's obviously he went out for hamstring tightness, hopefully it's not a hamstring injury, but if he's out for a bit, you look at the matchups, you got Valanciunas who's been absolutely devouring the rebounds, and like he's bigger than Ayton, and I arguably think he's better than Ayton right now. You got Brendan Ingram, who's probably better than their third best player. I'm just trying to think, Mikal Bridges, and then CJ McCollum, and then the only really backup is the Suns have Chris Paul and a lot more depth. Do you reckon it's a bit of a stretch that series? Oh God, I can't speak right now. That series would go 6 or 7 games.
I don't think it would. I mean, if Phoenix ended up they'd be really unlucky to themselves to go to 7 games.
And that would be hating themselves if they let it go to 7 games.
That'd be very unfortunate. And that if they do go to 7 games, I reckon the Warriors would have more of a if that had to have happened.
I am what was I going to say? I've actually forgot what I was going to say. I just can't wait till game 3 actually though. I'll be tuning in to that one because I was just going to not watch a single game of that series because I just thought the 1 versus 8 seeds games are just going to be terrible.
Yeah.
And now everything's changed. One series there's only been 1 game played, but Bulls versus Bucks, that looks like it could actually be reasonably close. The Bulls lost by like 9 points or so, and DeMar shot terribly, and Vucevic had a really big game. What do you think about that series?
Yeah, that could be it could be an interesting series.
Bucks will come out on top, I still think, but
I reckon as well. I reckon they've just got a lot of inexperienced players for playoffs. So
I just want to see Big Body go up against Embiid. So that's why I want Giannis
to be honest. Yeah, same.
Just someone that can stand in front of him.
I just want Sixers to lose. So I don't even care if Miami make it out. To be honest, I just don't want Sixers to make it out. Yeah.
And Embiid's lived on the troll name, but people just, and all the Sixers fans saying, just don't foul then.
Even Daryl Morey came out and said it.
Oh, you just watch the plays and it's like half of these aren't fouls.
They're doing it to themselves.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, before we move on to Slug's horsey tips, wait, sorry. Did you have anything else you want to touch on NBA wise? Am I missing anything?
No, I think it's pretty well
Actually,
covered.
sorry. One more thing. The Warriors' new death lineup, I think there's been a lot more nicknames. I'm trying to think of some of them, like DEFCON 4 or whatever it's called, because their death lineup is Jordan Poole, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Wiggins, and Draymond Green.
Steph Curry off the bench as well.
Yeah. As that lineup, do you think anyone would actually be able to beat them if they play, say, the last 11 or last 7 minutes or so of the game with that lineup?
Well, I feel like the Nuggets without Jokic are just a bunch of Kmart workers. So, I mean, they're not really that special.
Kmart, why not Target
Target's too good.
or Walmart? Go American.
Yeah, for our American viewers. No, they've got Kmart as well and Target too. Yeah, sure, we'll just go Walmart.
So do you reckon it's just that they're versing such a bad team that lineup's working so well? Because obviously you can target probably Poole and Curry in that team, in that lineup at least. Wiggins and that are good defenders, but do you reckon that lineup will hold?
Yeah, I reckon it can be stable. And one more thing about Phoenix and Pelicans, Scott Foster was officiating today. CP has not won a game in the last 13 games where
14 now.
14 now, where Scott Foster has been officiating.
In the playoffs.
Is this a Tony Brothers situation with Jokic, but Scott Foster?
I saw it this morning. Rob Perez tweeted it out, and I'm like, surely it ends today. And then, sure enough, they friggin' lose, and it's just like the new Undertaker thing. The streak just continues to go on. One thing I do want to touch on, you don't have to comment on it if you don't want, and I'm probably going to get a bit of lip about this, but I have hated seeing tweets saying that Chris Paul is the greatest Suns point guard of all time. He's a great point guard in general, but come on now, he's not better than Steve Nash. And I take it personally because he's like, Steve Nash is my favorite player. I'm presuming you probably wouldn't have many thoughts on this because I don't think you would have.
No, I never got to watch Steve Nash. So,
but I feel like there's just no argument with it, especially at the Suns. You could argue all time. I'm not going to try and get into that debate because.
I mean, there was a year where Steve Nash won MVP, and like you look at his stats to what LeBron was averaging, and that this is a lot for me to say. And for what LeBron was averaging compared to what Steve Nash was averaging, and for Steve Nash to win it, man,
that was because, as people would say, it was a fluid list. The requirements changing each year. That year, like LeBron did put up shit tons of stats, and I think it was the same year Shaq put up heaps of stats. But I think that was the year that Nash led the Suns to the number 1 seed in the West that had Kobe and all that, which I guess you can make that argument for Devin Booker, but he's actually putting up good numbers. But yeah, anyway, Nash 2-time MVP for the Suns. I don't really think there's any debate about that. So that just made me sick. Anyway, we'll move on to that time of the week. Slugs. Horsey tips. So he sent this in as we started, so perfect timing. So his first tip is Caulfield race 7, number 5, Lombardo. His second pick is Randwick race 5, number 5, Sense of Honor. And his each way of the day is Doomben race 8, number 6, Quantum Mechanic. I need to catch up on his efficiency lately, but we'll go on to weekly multis. I'll start off first. Mine didn't get up last week. Richmond lost, but we'll get into that.
I don't even want to talk about mine.
I've got
Melbourne to win.
yeah, okay. I feel much better now. I've got the Nets to beat the Celtics, and they're underdogs. I got the Jazz to beat the Mavs to beat the Jazz in Game 3, and the Mavs are like $3 underdogs with the possibility of Doncic coming back. St Kilda to beat GWS, Bulldogs to beat Adelaide, and Brisbane to beat Gold Coast. So that's a 5-leg multi paying $19.70. You got yours, Sharpy?
I most definitely do not.
That's all right. We can just talk about you losing yours with North Melbourne.
Yeah, that was a pretty dumb decision from me there.
All right, we're gonna cover some AFL quickly, and then I might let Sharpy run on with some MLB before we end it. First things first, I'm coming second in the footy tipping. Sharpy, you're coming fourth. We're still
Yes.
losing to Brad. Yeah,
I've
yes.
had pretty terrible.
Yeah,
The first couple of weeks were terrible for me.
I've been going shit, but Brad's like 4 ahead of me now in second, and I'm like, what the? I don't know how he's done it, to be honest. But anyway, thoughts on Hawkins not getting punished for that flop?
No, I mean, he's from Geelong. What do you expect? Like, pretty simple.
Did you think he should have got punished at least?
Oh,
I'm guessing.
100%. Yes. But once again, because he's from Geelong, protected team.
I'm Richmond losing is the next topic. I don't want to sit on it for too much because I only watched 3 quarters before going to the football. I don't know. I just genuinely don't know how Adelaide won. I don't think Richmond play well at Adelaide Oval in general. And to be honest, Cochin easily should have probably got a week or so for kicking. Not Hawkins, Tex Walker. But now Tex Walker's come out and said that if it was on his foot, he would have got suspended. And now he's copped a fine, I'm pretty sure. I forgot to. I'll skip that anyway. Carlton beating Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide are terrible, but do you think Carlton are actually that good, or do you reckon they're just having a good start and it's gonna fade off?
They nearly lost. They were up by heaps,
Yeah.
and then they ended up winning by 3 points. I don't think I'm that close enough to the topic to know the answer. Obviously, I didn't watch much of that game. I don't think I've watched.
I don't think many people did, to be honest. We were at the pub, so
yeah, we were busy. The only Carlton game I've watched fully was the Bulldogs game, which they won. I mean, they're playing really well.
Yeah, I just hope that they don't, because I hate Carlton fans. They're getting compared to Richmond fans early on, but like, just
and how cocky they are.
Yeah, I've just heard some of them say like they got the best list in the league, and it's just like, really? You're looking at Melbourne, they got an unreal list. You look at the Bulldogs, even though they're not playing well, they've got an unreal list. Anyway, Essendon, I reckon we can all laugh at Essendon and Sam Allen, because they're just absolute dog shit. But also Will Brodie, what a man. He's absolutely tearing it up. That's the topic you can talk about, can't you?
Oh, not really. I haven't really watched many games. I've just been looking at the scores.
No one really watches Fremantle, to be fair.
Who have they got this week? I can't remember who they got this week.
They got Carlton, and Freo are second on the ladder.
Yeah. So that'd be a good game.
That's going to be an unreal game. One last game. Oh, sorry. Another game to touch on. Geelong versus the Hawks. Obviously, Hawthorn won, surprisingly. Yeah, fuck Geelong. Do you think the Hawks are going to finish top 8?
I feel like this is another thing where I'm not that close to be talking about it, but yeah, well, they look good coming out the gate at the start of the year. I reckon they could. Yeah.
And 2 games I'm just going to touch on quickly. Richmond, Melbourne is the Anzac Eve game. Always a great sight, but Richmond are probably going to get smashed by like 40, 50. And then the Anzac game, a lot of people probably thinking that Collingwood are going to absolutely smash Essendon, because obviously Essendon have been shit. I would not be surprised if Essendon come out, though, and lose by 20 goals. Nah, they actually make it a close game.
Essendon have got a few names out, but to be honest, I used that as an excuse last week for North to beat Bulldogs, and Bulldogs having a few names out, and that didn't happen. So I'm not going to go there.
That's it for the AFL. Did you want to Now, I know nothing about baseball, so you can go on for as long or as little as you'd like.
Yeah, I just want to talk about how the Chicago Cubs new recruit Seiya Suzuki has had a great start to the season. Had obviously today his hitting streak ended, which was sad. Went to 9 games with a hitting streak, which means he's got on base for the last 9 games for you, Ollie.
Thank you. Basic rules with me.
Obviously, we lost to Tampa Bay. That was sad, me being a Cubs supporter, and also our NFL expert, Brad, who might be on next week for a preview of the NFL draft.
Oh yeah, shit. Yep.
Which shall be exciting. But the Cubs 6-5, obviously terrible off season, terrible last season to get rid of 3 of their best players and to keep a couple of their good players, which was nice. But we're in a bit of strife here. Obviously Keegan Thompson's been playing well, which is exciting. We're the best pitcher in the league with Hendricks. We don't want the Yankees or the Mets to win because they're terrible, and we don't want the Dodgers to win because LA teams can go suck a fat one.
What about the Oakland A's?
They are terrible. They're projected
Oh.
last
Oh,
in the whole
no,
thing.
they're just trying to get in the lottery like the Thunder. Rebuild.
No, they're terrible.
Oh.
I wouldn't back Oakland in anything really.
Oh, come on, man.
But anyway, that's about it of baseball. That obviously being put on the spot like that was a bit hard to talk about, but
Oh, well, you did well.
yeah, if I was prepared, I probably would have done a bit better, but what can you do?
Well, the light in my room's running out, and the light bulb I need to fix. It obviously doesn't turn on, otherwise I would have it on. We're really going to have to figure out a structure for our next few podcasts then, because it's going to get to a point where there's a mix of NBA, AFL,
that's
NFL. Yeah, the NBA ends in June. That's still 2 months.
Yeah.
AFL, NFL, NBA. Anyway, we're figuring it out. We're going to make a network once we get a name and a logo, and we'll have multiple Twitter accounts.
There's possible rebranding in the works.
Yeah, it's going to take some time, and hopefully I can make a logo. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go to Sam again.
Nothing beats me with Microsoft Paint. So
all right. We're sticking with that. We've got your word now. You got to do it. Hopefully, I'll be able to actually speak next podcast, because I've rumbled on, like, caught my words so many times tonight, and I'm all over the place right now.
Speaking too quick. I think that's the thing.
I've gone back to the first episode of this.
Oh, God, don't even get me started.
I might go back and listen to that. All right. Thanks for joining us, Sharpy.
Not too easy.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.